Most people can picture the pyramids of Egypt instantly. Desert, sand, sharp edges cutting into the sky. But far from the Sahara, beyond the Nile, on the other side of the world, there are pyramids too. And almost no one talks about them. They don't appear in travel brochures. They rarely show up in documentaries. You won't see them dominating global history textbooks. Yet they exist. Massive, ancient, quiet. Rising from the plains near the modern city of Xi'an, in central China, enormous geometric mounds interrupt the natural landscape. From the ground, they do not look like pyramids at first. They look like hills, tree-covered, ordinary, almost unremarkable. But from the sky, the symmetry becomes undeniable. Perfect angles, 4 distinct sides, flat summits, aligned with intention. These are not natural formations. They are artificial mountains. And they were built more than 2,000 years ago. The first time many people outside China saw them clearly was not through an official announcement, but through satellite imagery. As mapping technology improved, shapes once hidden by distance and vegetation began to reveal themselves. And the question emerged almost immediately. Why are there pyramids in China? And why have we heard so little about them? Unlike the pyramids of Egypt, which were meant to dominate the horizon, these structures seem to conceal themselves. Many are covered with soil and trees. Some are off-limits to visitors. Others sit quietly in agricultural land, visible but unexplained. There is no grand tourism industry built around them. No towering scaffolding of active excavation. No dramatic unveiling ceremonies. Instead, there is stillness and restraint. The largest of them all lies beneath what appears, from a distance, to be an enormous forested mound. It stretches across the landscape with quiet authority. Larger in base area than many of Egypt's pyramids, its slopes are gentle but deliberate, its summit flattened, as though waiting. But what lies beneath that summit has never been opened. For more than 2,000 years, it has remained sealed. Not because it was forgotten, but because it was deliberately left untouched. Ancient Chinese records describe a vast underground complex. A tomb built for an emperor whose ambition reshaped a civilization. They speak of rivers made from liquid metal, of ceilings that mirrored the night sky, of mechanical defenses designed to protect the dead from intrusion. These descriptions are not myths told centuries later. They were written by historians living close to the time of its construction. And yet, the tomb remains unopened. Archaeologists know where it is. They know its size, they know its historical owner, but they have chosen not to enter. Official explanations emphasize preservation. The fear that excavation would destroy what time has protected. Modern technology, they argue, is not yet advanced enough to safely explore what lies inside without irreversible damage. It is a reasonable answer, and yet, the mystery persists. Because around this main structure are dozens, perhaps hundreds of other pyramidal tombs. Some smaller, some partially excavated, many still silent. Together they form one of the largest ancient burial landscapes on Earth. And still, they remain largely unknown outside China. This is not a story of forbidden secrets or hidden alien civilizations. It is something quieter, and perhaps more unsettling. It is a story about deliberate silence, about what a civilization chooses to protect, and about how easily the rest of the world can overlook something monumental when it does not fit the narrative we expect. The pyramids of Egypt became global icons. The pyramids of China became shadows. But shadows only exist because something massive is blocking the light. And the deeper you look into these structures, into their scale, beneath it. To understand why they remain hidden, we must go back to the man who ordered the greatest of them built, a ruler who unified warring states, standardized language and currency, and sought something far more ambitious than political control. He sought permanence. And permanence in ancient China required building a mountain for the dead. Long before the first pyramid-shaped mound rose from the soil near modern-day Xi'an, China was not a single empire. It was fractured. For centuries, rival kingdoms fought in a brutal period known as the Warring States. Armies clashed endlessly. Alliances shifted. Borders dissolved and reformed. Stability was rare. Trust was dangerous. Out of that chaos emerged a ruler who would do what no one before him had managed to accomplish. He unified them all. His name was Qin Shi Huang. When he declared himself emperor in 221 BCE, he did not simply claim territory. He reshaped the structure of civilization. He standardized writing, standardized currency, standardized measurements. Roads connected distant regions. Defensive walls stretched across the north, early foundations of what would later become the Great Wall. But his ambition did not end with the living. He believed his rule should extend beyond death. And so, while he governed the largest unified state China had ever seen, he began preparing for something far greater, an afterlife that mirrored the empire he had built above ground. The tomb complex that would become his eternal residence was not constructed in a single year. It took decades. Hundreds of thousands of laborers worked on it, shaping Earth into geometric precision. From above, its form is unmistakable, a massive pyramidal mound rising from the plains. But what we see today is only the surface. Ancient historian Sima Qian, writing about a century after the emperor's death, described what lay beneath. According to his records, the tomb chamber was designed as a microcosm of the empire. Rivers and seas were replicated using flowing mercury. Crossbows were rigged to fire at intruders. Then, in 1974, farmers digging a well nearby made a discovery that changed everything. Each posture deliberate. Thousands of them. An entire army. Frozen in formation, guarding something unseen. The terracotta army stunned the world. If the emperor had commissioned an underground army of that magnitude, what else might lie beneath the central mound? Scientific surveys began to examine the main tomb area without disturbing it. Soil tests revealed unusually high concentrations of mercury in the region, consistent with ancient descriptions of flowing metallic rivers. It was a detail too specific to ignore. And yet, the central chamber remains sealed. Archaeologists stand at its threshold, fully aware of its location, size, and historical importance, and choose not to open it. Officially, the reason is preservation. When the terracotta army was first exposed, vibrant paint that had survived 2,000 years began to flake away within hours. Oxygen, light, and humidity, harmless to us, became destructive forces to artifacts that had rested undisturbed. Excavating the emperor's tomb could mean losing it forever. Plains are dozens of other pyramidal mounds, imperial tombs of later dynasties, some smaller, some larger, many still unexplored. Collectively, they form a vast necropolis, an ancient city of the dead, built with deliberate geometry. From satellite imagery, their symmetry is unmistakable. From the ground, they are quiet hills. Why, then, are they not globally iconic? Part of the answer lies in timing. By the time global archaeology became a spectacle in the 19th and early 20th centuries, China's political landscape was complex and often unstable. Foreign excavation was sensitive. Cultural heritage was guarded closely, and understandably so. Another part lies in philosophy. Ancient Egyptian pyramids were designed to proclaim permanence to the horizon. They were meant to be seen. Their desert setting preserved their sharp lines. They demanded attention. The Chinese pyramidal tombs, by contrast, were designed to integrate with the landscape. They were built from rammed earth, later covered by vegetation. They do not shout. They settle. They become part of the terrain itself. And perhaps most importantly, excavation in China is governed by a principle that differs sharply from earlier Western archaeology. If something can be preserved safely underground, it often is. Not everything ancient must be opened immediately. That restraint creates mystery. Because in a world accustomed to instant revelation, a sealed chamber feels almost defiant. The largest pyramid near Xi'an still holds its interior intact. No cameras have entered. No artifacts cataloged, no corridors mapped. It is one of the most significant, unopened tombs in human history. And it sits quietly in plain sight. The deeper you look, the more unsettling the silence becomes. Because this is not about lost knowledge hidden from the world. It is about knowledge that exists, but is deliberately waiting. And waiting is far more powerful than secrecy. The Pyramid of Qin, Shi Huang, is only the beginning. Travel west of modern Xi'an, and the land begins to reveal a pattern. What looks at first like scattered hills slowly resolves. They are part of a field. Across the Guangzhong Plain, dozens of imperial tomb mounds rise from farmland and brush. Some belong to rulers of the Han Dynasty, successors who continue the tradition of building pyramid-shaped burial structures. Others mark the resting desert backdrops to frame them, no postcard silhouettes at sunset. The pyramids blend, but from above, from aircraft, from satellites, the illusion fades. Modern satellite imagery revealed something striking. Many of these tombs are aligned with remarkable precision. Some appear oriented toward cardinal directions. Others may reflect astronomical considerations, echoing ancient Chinese cosmology in which the emperor served as a bridge between heaven and earth. Alignment was not symbolic decoration. It was political theology. In ancient China, the emperor ruled under the mandate of heaven. His authority was justified by cosmic harmony. To construct a tomb that mirrored celestial order was not vanity. It was legitimacy extended beyond death. The pyramid was not simply a grave marker. It was a statement that even beneath the soil, imperial authority remained aligned with the universe. This is where the mystery deepens, because the scale of labor required terracotta army stunned the world in 1974. No golden treasure chambers pulled into daylight. No lost city dramatically revealed beneath jungle canopy. Instead, there is documentation, archaeological surveys, historical texts, measured restraint, and restraint does not generate spectacle. In the early 20th century, rumors began circulating among Western travelers about white pyramids in China. Exaggerated accounts of gleaming structures rivaling Egypt in size. Photographs were blurry, reports inconsistent, speculation filled the gaps. Some claims were inflated, others misidentified. What remained after careful study was something less sensational, but far more grounded. The pyramids were real. They were enormous, and they were mostly earthen, not stone. Their muted appearance contributed to their obscurity. Earth does not hold sharp edges the way limestone does. It weathers, it softens, it disappears into the terrain. Over centuries, many mounds were intentionally planted with trees, further blending them into the landscape. Some were partially leveled by agriculture before their significance was fully understood. Others remain protected zones, fenced and monitored but not excavated. This creates a strange paradox. They are not hidden, they are visible, but they are not emphasized. In global narratives of ancient monumental architecture, Egypt dominates. Mesoamerica follows. China is often associated with walls, palaces, and ceramics, not pyramids. Yet here they stand, silent counterpoints to what we think we know about where pyramids belong. The deeper question is not why China hides them, it is why the world overlooked them. Part of the answer lies in cultural philosophy. In traditional Chinese thought, burial sites are sacred spaces tied to ancestor veneration and geomantic balance. Disturbing them carries not just archaeological consequence, but spiritual weight. Excavation is not purely scientific, it is ethical. And so, while Western archaeology once prioritized rapid exposure and collection, Chinese archaeology evolved differently, favoring protection, documentation, and patience. The great central mound of Qin Shi Huang remains sealed because once opened, it cannot be closed again. What survives underground has survived precisely because it has not been disturbed. But patience breeds speculation. When something monumental is known yet unopened, imagination rushes in to fill the void. Stories grow. The unknown expands. And that unknown sits at the center of one of the most powerful empires of the ancient world. Still intact, still unentered. The longer it remains closed, the more it transforms from tomb into question. Would the Mercury River still glisten beneath sealed ceilings? Would the constellations crafted in precious stones still mirror the sky of 210 BCE? Photographed, mapped, and cataloged, one of the most significant ancient burial chambers in history remains deliberately untouched, not lost, not destroyed, simply waiting, standing. Before the great mound attributed to Qin Shi Huang, the question feels almost unavoidable. Why not open it? In an era of robotic exploration, microcameras, ground-penetrating radar, and advanced atmospheric controls, what could possibly justify waiting? The answer is not mystery, it is fragility. When archaeologists first uncovered sections of the Terracotta Army, they made a discovery that reshaped how excavation would proceed in China. The clay soldiers were not originally the muted brown figures we see today. They were painted vividly. Reds, blues, purples, faces detailed with lifelike realism. But exposure changed everything. Within hours of contact with oxygen and shifting humidity, the paint began to curl and flake away. Colors that had survived for over 2,000 years vanished in moments. Preservation technology at the time could not stop it fast enough. The lesson was harsh and irreversible. Sometimes excavation destroys the very thing it seeks to reveal. Now imagine that same vulnerability not on statues, but on an entire sealed chamber. Organic materials, silk, lacquered wood, pigments, manuscripts, all preserved in stable darkness for millennia. Once air enters, decay accelerates. Once light touches surfaces never meant to see it, chemical reactions begin. Archaeologists know precisely where the central chamber lies. Non-invasive surveys have mapped voids beneath the mound. Soil testing has detected elevated mercury concentrations in surrounding areas, lending credibility to ancient accounts recorded by Sima Qian, who described rivers of flowing mercury inside the tomb. Modern measurements suggest mercury levels significantly higher than background norms. It is possible that those ancient descriptions were not symbolic exaggeration. They may have been literal. Opening such a chamber without fully understanding internal atmospheric conditions could be dangerous, not just to artifacts, but to researchers themselves. Mercury vapor is toxic. Structural stability after 2,000 years is uncertain. A single miscalculation could collapse passages or trigger irreversible contamination. And beyond the scientific risk lies something more subtle: cultural philosophy. In Chinese tradition, imperial tombs are not simply archaeological sites. They are sacred resting places. Disturbance is not automatically justified by curiosity. There is a moral calculus involved, a weighing of knowledge against reverence. In Western archaeology's earlier eras, tombs were opened quickly, sometimes carelessly. Treasures removed, artifacts displayed, far from their origin. That approach shaped public expectations. Ancient structures exist to be explored. China has chosen a different path. Preservation first, excavation later, if ever. This deliberate restraint creates tension in the global imagination. We are conditioned to expect revelation. We expect documentaries to end with doors opening, chambers illuminated, secrets exposed. Instead, this story ends at a threshold, a sealed mound, a chamber known but untouched. It challenges something fundamental about modern culture, the assumption that everything should be accessible. The pyramid near Xi'an resists that assumption. It stands as a monument not just to imperial ambition, but to patience, and patience is powerful. Because the longer something remains unopened, the more its presence expands in the mind. The sealed chamber becomes larger than any confirmed discovery. It becomes possibility itself, both scientific and symbolic. There are other tomb mounds across the region still awaiting deeper study. Some have been partially excavated, revealing burial goods, corridors, and structural sophistication. Each reinforces the idea that these were not primitive earth piles but carefully engineered monuments reflecting cosmology, authority, and permanence. Yet the largest remains silent, and perhaps that silence is intentional. Not in the sense of secrecy, but in the sense of respect. The pyramids of Egypt command attention because they have been emptied. The pyramids of China command tension because they have not. They remind us that history is not only about what we uncover, it is also about what we choose to leave undisturbed. The question then is no longer whether China is hiding its pyramids. They are visible, documented, studied. The real question is whether the modern world is prepared to accept that some chapters of the past are still closed. Not by conspiracy, but by decision. And that decision may be the most mysterious act of all. Now we arrive at the final question. If these pyramids are real, if they've been studied, if they're visible on satellite maps, then why does the narrative that they're hidden refuse to die? Because mystery is magnetic. For decades, limited Western access to central China created information gaps. During the mid-20th century, foreign researchers had restricted movement inside the country. Cold War politics amplified suspicion. When early aerial photographs surfaced showing massive pyramid-shaped mounds near Xi'an, imagination filled in the blanks. Speculation thrives in silence. Some pointed to the remote location near Xi'an. Others referenced early pilot reports describing a, quote, white pyramid. A few connected them without evidence to lost civilizations or even extraterrestrials. But here is the critical shift. As China opened more to global research, archaeology did not reveal alien technology. It revealed imperial burial complexes, structured, documented, historically recorded. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang is part of a larger funerary landscape. Surrounding it are dozens of satellite tombs belonging to nobles, officials, and family members. Across Shanxi province, other emperors of the Han and Tang dynasties built similar pyramid-shaped mausoleums. These structures were expressions of cosmology. Ancient Chinese imperial ideology viewed the emperor as the son of heaven. His tomb mirrored the capital city. The mound symbolized a sacred mountain, a bridge between earth and sky. In Egyptian tradition, pyramids aimed sharply upward. In China, they rise as mountains. Different shapes, different philosophies. Same ambition, eternity. The persistence of the hidden pyramids narrative reveals something deeper about human psychology. We are uncomfortable with incomplete access. When a structure exists but cannot be fully entered, we instinctively assume concealment. But preservation is not secrecy, it is strategy. Modern archaeologists in China have stated that the main chamber of the Qin Mausoleum will only be opened when technology guarantees full protection of its contents. That moment has not yet arrived. And that restraint is powerful, because for once in history, we are choosing not to repeat past mistakes. Consider how many ancient tombs were looted or damaged in the rush to uncover them. The burial chamber of Tutankhamun survived largely by chance. Many others did not. The mound near Xi'an remains intact by choice. That changes the story entirely. So what do the Chinese pyramids truly represent? They represent continuity. They represent imperial power translated into landscape. They represent a civilization that built not just for spectacle, but for spiritual permanence. And perhaps most importantly, they represent a rare boundary. A line drawn between curiosity and respect. The next time someone says they're hiding the pyramids, ask this instead. What if they're protecting them? What if the greatest mystery is not what's inside, but our impatience to know? Somewhere beneath layers of earth, sealed in controlled darkness, an emperor's vision of the afterlife remains undisturbed, not erased, not denied, just waiting. And maybe that waiting is part of the design. Because a mystery that survives for 2,000 years is not weakness, it is power. So the pyramids of China aren't hidden. They're visible, documented, measured. The only thing sealed is what's inside. And maybe the real question was never, what are they hiding? But are we ready to open it? Tell me in the comments, should the tomb of Qin Shi Huang be opened in our lifetime or left sealed forever?